This weekend's gig starting a little early. I have to clear some room in my car, take out my son's booster seat so that I can fit Matt's JBL 725s. I'm going to be using those as tops because unfortunately my CDLs were cutting out, but Sweetwater is doing warranty work on them and I have not received them back yet. One good note though is that Sweetwater let me remove the amps. Otherwise I would have been sending 60-pound speakers that were huge in the mail, so instead I was able to send 4 of the amps in for like a quarter of the cost. And a couple of the amps, the grill on the outside was actually kind of tinted brown, like it had been in a smoker's house, so clearly those had problems. But luckily Matt has a couple systems and he usually uses the RCF system and the JBLs are his backup, and he doesn't need them this weekend, so he's gonna let me use them. P.S. The code to get in is 80085. Grow up, you guys. Well, he's not using all his RCFs, but I can't do much with just 2. Still sound pretty good though. Here we go. Now I just gotta wheel this backwards. The funny thing was, as I was loading these up, I realized how cool it was that they had wheels and this handle on there. And then I asked him later, I was like, wait, did you install these? And he totally did. Pretty clever. Okay, so I'm flying solo, so I brought this moving blanket. My plan is to put this over the ledge. The ledge? How about the bumper? That way I don't scratch it up any more than I already have, or that was already done before I owned the car. My hope is that I can set it down and then tip it. That way I don't have to lift all that weight. I just have to get it a little bit of the ways and then use the fulcrum to alleviate some of that weight. And look at that. Judging by the vein of my neck, that was heavier than I thought. These wheels are incredibly handy, but if I don't back up with it, it's a little unstable. It takes a little bit more time, but it's always better to be safe. And now I should just be able to rinse and repeat. I said this in one of my other videos, but I'm always paranoid the garage door doesn't actually close. Well, now I can head home and get some rest and get packed for tomorrow. On the way out, I noticed this really cool car sitting in the lot. I don't even know what it is. Look how cool that is, all that wood. So fancy. Starts with a T. I don't know what it is. What is it, internet? Okay, that's enough messing around. I need to get home. I got stuff to do. We are now at gig day, and I had to rent a Uhaul trailer. I really love the 5x8. I wish they would actually sell them. You know, I should really clean my garage. Yeah, nah, I'm not gonna do that. You know, I've looked at a few trailers and none of them are quite built like this. They all have side doors, they're heavier, and this door is actually taller than most of the doors of trailers that I borrowed. I don't need these lights tonight. The band did not want to order this package. I have different levels based on how much gear I need to bring since it's extra work. I did recently invest in some monitors. I picked up these RCF 12s. They were only around $400, and that's cheaper than the ZLXs that we were using before. And I haven't needed monitors yet, so I'm just leaving them in the boxes until I need them. You're supposed to put your heaviest stuff at the front of the trailer. Everything's kind of the same weight, but I'm gonna start with the subs first. Obviously, I won't be needing these CDLs since there's no amps in them. So what I just started working on was I put in a spreadsheet the amount of hours that I'm actually working, including loading up the gear, going and getting the trailer, and the drive times, and then dividing that by what I charge a client to see what that actually equals per hour. The pay still isn't bad, but it's not as high as you would think. And then on top of that, you add the fact that you spent $15,000 to $50,000 just for the gear. It's kind of crazy, but it's still better than when I was working my butt off at a warehouse. No, thank you. Now, the last time I had to use all my gear, I didn't like taking all those totes for all my cables. So I splurged a little bit with my gig money and I bought this tall one, by ProX. And what I've done is I divided it with a 4-way divider with all that giant roll of Lexan that I'm sure you saw earlier. So I can put power in one corner and cables in the other corner. It's kind of a mess right now, but it's a work in progress. And tonight is going to be its maiden voyage, so we'll see how it works out. I can tell you one thing though, it rolls really nice. And it's a little heavy. And my keys are stabbing me in the leg. I'll just use the handles to get it over the lip here, and it should go up with no problem. No problem, there we go. I also ordered duplicate cables so that I didn't have to pack up all the cables when I set up my practice space in my YouTube room. So now I just need to pack up the rack. Then I tossed in my stands and I did a little X pattern with my Rhino straps. P.S. I love these. You need them if you don't have them. I figured I had a little time, so I'm gonna measure how tall this door actually is. And it looks like it is 52 inches tall by 48 wide. That's good to know for when I'm looking at other trailers. Also, I really like that it has this spring hinge for the door. A lot of the ones I see have those wires on the side, and I know I would trip or try to hang myself on those. And it has grip on the door. Uhaul is not sponsoring this video, but if they want to give me a trailer, I will take one. And I'm hitting the road. It's cloudy today. The weather keeps saying it's gonna rain, it's not gonna rain, so hope for the best today. Well, we are not in the city anymore. I grew up in a small town, so I love seeing these fields. Just reminds me of home. Locked? I didn't really want to do this gig anyway. I totally do. I need to pay bills and stuff. Alright, I saw it from the top view and a few photos. But now that I'm here, I'm gonna take a few seconds to assess the layout and the situation and see where I want to put everything. Even though it is cloudy and overcast right now, it is still hot. The humidity is insane, but it's a really cool area to be doing a gig tonight. We're right next to the lake. Actually, the last time I did this band, I did them at the Weekend Bar, which is right next to a lake. Maybe this band just really likes playing lake shows. I've already been working hard, so it's time to check my Facebook post. Just kidding. I'm checking the weather and catching up with the band to try to give them directions in here. It wasn't as complicated as it looked on the map. Alright, back to work. This gear isn't gonna unload itself. Thankfully, we will not be setting up in the sand. That would just be terrible for everybody involved. While the asphalt is a lot hotter, it's a lot safer for everybody. The equipment will be more stable, and we don't have to worry about sand just getting into everything. Today I'm gonna go with your pretty typical left and right subs. I like to center them as much as I can, but obviously I don't want to block the band. My plan is to actually stack my subs on each other, but I haven't quite got that all figured out yet. Now I just need to get the blanket out again and hope these slide out as easy. Okay. All right. Okay. There we go. Hopefully these slide out as easy as they went in. And now for number 2. You know, I think I'm gonna set some time aside later and paint these guys, give them a facelift like I did the ZL. Geez, okay, I about dropped all of that. What I was saying was, I think I'll set some time aside and paint these for Matt, like I did it with the ZLXs. Be a nice way to pay him back for letting me borrow them. I do usually buy the OEM cases for the speakers and the subs. I feel like it saves them from getting bashed up. They still get bashed up when you set them up once in a while, but a lot of people don't. And if I didn't, I mean, honestly, I would save a ton of money. What do you guys think? Do you buy the covers or do you just raw dog it? A lot of times I will put these covers inside of each other, but I have this trailer today, so I'm just gonna throw them in one at a time, and then I won't have to separate them all at the end of the night. Normally I would use the pole to put these on, but there's no way in heck I'm gonna be able to get those 725s up on poles. So today I'm just gonna lay the sub sideways. And I bet you're wondering, how did he get that sub on top? Well, my camera overheated, so I guess magic? My plan is to use these rhino straps underneath this sub to go up and hopefully hook on to the 725s to prevent them from walking off. We'll see if that plays out. Okay, but really, this is how I did the sub. Same idea. I threw the blanket down like I did in my car. And then with this guy, I'm gonna set it up. Even though it's not quite tall enough, I still shouldn't have to lift too much. But I gotta prep myself because I'm already dying from this heat. And lift with your legs, kids. That actually wasn't too bad. Oh, my pants are dirty. Dang it. And there we go, standing up. Now let's see if I can loop this around. I cannot. Super, that's real cool. But I got extremely lucky and the hooks actually fit over these handles just perfectly with just enough space. Hey, taco guy. A food truck has arrived. It's always good to have food at events. For power, they gave me 3 separate circuits with 20 amps. I was hoping for 4, but honestly 3 will be just fine. I'll run half the system on one, half the system on the other. Then my mixer, and they're bringing an in-ear mixer, and the band equipment on the other circuit. And this is David, he's part of the band, and he's also running the in-ear rack. He will never lose this van in a parking lot. So the way it usually works, if a band does their own in-ears, a lot of time they will run their own lines, which is really great. It saves you time, but it can be complicated if you run into an issue. But what he'll do is he'll run the lines in the band, and then he'll give me these tails here. And I will take those tails and I will plug that into my rack. I'm gonna be using these Wash FX Hex. They work really well. They can be a little blinding, but the way the lights are spaced out, they can really hit a wide area pretty easily with just one light. The rest of the band is slowly rolling in and setting up their stuff. We're not too far away from showtime now. The band does supply a lot of their stands and microphones, but they do not have a set of drum mics, so we're gonna use my SE mics today. Since this is the same lineup that they always use, he gave me his iPad with his input list, and I'm looking at his input list and matching that up with my rack. Now, if you haven't seen any of my other videos, this isn't really hard or complicated. I guess I wouldn't say it isn't hard because it can get out of hand quickly when you're looking at a bunch of different numbers and trying to match them up. The event attendees are starting to fill up the pavilion out on the sand. They're getting some tacos on, and I'm gonna eat my sandwich and get some hydration. I might need to get a second bottle for when I'm at events like this. I don't like using plastic water bottles because I don't want to contribute to trash when I can just fill this up from home. We are ready for a quick little sound check in between refueling. Let's take a look at their gear. Here's the guitar player's pedal board. It's a nice mix of stuff. And he's going to be running his JCM 800 through an orange cab. They also use this pedal which allows them to mute the mic to the crowd, but they can talk to each other. Pretty cool. And this is the singer's guitar pedal. They are actually just going to be taking this Telecaster direct in. The third guitar player is using a Tonex and will be running into this orange cab. And I didn't look, so that's either a 609 or a 906 mic. And he has these beautiful guitars. One's a PRS and one's the Wolfgang model. I would have showed you the other guitars, but I didn't record those for some reason. Sorry, David. And the bass player will be running into this Fender through a basement amp. And his guitar will be the jazz bass. He will be the only one on a wedge tonight, so he's going to be using my new RCF. The drummer will be using this nice DW kit. And I'll be miking him using my SE Electronics VPAC Arena Drum Microphone Package. Man, I nailed that. I really like the way these mics sound, and a lot of drummers have told me that they love them too. So it was a great buy. He had these cymbals I'd never seen called a clap stack, I believe. I'm curious to hear it. And this has to be the cleanest looking control center I've ever seen from a drummer. Well, from anybody for that matter. And this is their setup to run their in-ears. It's very similar to what I'm running front of house with. I have to say, this Pro X case is working fantastic. I have some small XLRs here, my regular XLRs in this bay. Over here I have my power, and on this side it's my DMX cables and my lights. And here's a look at my stack. It's two QSC 118s for subs, and then of course the JBL 725 on top. All right, let's do this gig. I'm really starting to like the mixing station app. Most of the time I live in the DCH because once I have it set, I just chase the hero. So if it's a different singer that's the hero, or if it's a guitar solo, I can chase that all night very easily from one screen. Look at all these bugs. This is insane. They are absolutely all over. It's like those movies where the plague hits and there's bugs everywhere. But even with the crazy bugs, the incredible heat, the ridiculous humidity, the gig went really, really well. The band did a great job of entertaining everybody. The crowd was laughing a ton tonight. They were commenting how great the band was, and people even came up to me and said how good of a job I was doing, which always feels good because generally we only hear when there's problems, not when you're doing a good job. So when somebody goes out of their way to compliment you, it makes your night. Once again, I was really impressed by the SE drum mic kit. They sounded really good. The drummer told me that he liked the way they sounded tonight, and they're not too crazy expensive. It was a good purchase for sure. As I pulled on my cable, I noticed there's this giant mess David unplugged all the cables and they all decided they wanted to tangle themselves up. I, of course, gave him heck for it. These lights worked really well, but they really did attract the bugs, so I'm gonna have to research how I can do better next time with that. Now David, because he's such a cool guy, said he would help me out lift these speakers, so he totally redeemed himself for the cable debacle. Debacle? Debacle. I know I talk about my attire a lot. I really want to look professional, and I'm glad I wore pants even though it was really hot because the mosquitoes came out and it really protected me. But these khaki pants, because I was sweating in them, when I walked through the sand, became muddy at the bottom, so that's disgusting. So next up, I guess I'm gonna try some black chinos, I think what they're called. See how that works out. I still wanna look nice. Hey, I made a new friend. Boop. Alright, I gotta quit messing around. I need to get out of here. I could probably load this trailer a lot faster if I wanted to, but after a long, hot day, I'd rather take my time. I don't need to be burning myself out or sitting with muscle soreness for the next 3 days. Plus, it's not every day that I get to enjoy the sounds of a lake while I'm doing teardown. It's very relaxing. It can feel a bit spooky, because if you look, there's nobody else around, it's just me and my 500 bug friends and Mr. Toad. But it also leaves you some time to just consider all your terrible choices in life, like being a sound guy, you know, normal stuff. But on a serious note, there are a lot worse jobs out there. I get to hear some really great bands. I get to watch people just forget about their lives for a while and just enjoy the moment. And it kind of gives you the realization that we should all probably do that a little bit more. And here we are. I think I'm down to the final 2 speakers and I'll be able to head out of here. I've had a few requests to do more POV style videos. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start recording a few of those and putting those in the members only area. That way you can kind of see a real behind the scenes look. Well, I survived another hot day, and I thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I will see you at the next gig.